Welcome back to another video, everyone. This week we have a new batch of daily races, one of them being a really special event at Tokyo Expressway. Utter chaos is going to happen as we start from pole position, start from back of the pack, and then kind of more towards the front in all three of our races. So I hope that you guys enjoy, and let's just go ahead and jump into it. I found that the qualifying lap, if you get it right, is just so important because the toe is really strong here, and it's really bad at getting kind of stuck in that mid-pack. So if you qualify at least in the top, like, you know, 4, 5, whatever, you're going to be doing much better if you start, like, last or something. Overtaking is definitely possible here, but like I was saying, if you get stuck in one of those kind of, like, mid to lower pack groups, it's hard to really kind of progress. So this was from a little bit while ago. I was in, I believe, a mostly B driver-rated lobby. So my qualifying time, honestly, I wasn't really happy with it at this time. I think it was like a high 56 or something. I believe that's what it is still. I kind of want to grind it out. I might just do like a live stream and just like play it for a really long time and just see what I can do, because I've gotten better like halfway through the lap, and then I crash or something dumb. Anyways, so with it being a slightly lower rated lobby, we're able to already have a little gap going at the end of lap 1. This was my first, I guess, race of this session that I was doing. So, of course, while I qualified on pole, I still wasn't really in a rhythm of things. I think that that's going to probably come back to bite me, not through this section, but I believe at the upcoming turn 1, I'm going to have a little bit of a shocking moment where we're going to get a really bad run. So that's not happened yet. We're doing good for now. I forgot to record all of this, sadly, in person, so a lot of this is through the lovely replay tool. And yes, here's my moment of doom, I believe. Not really a smooth exit, not in the wall, but not doing great either. And you see, if you take a look at the course map in the bottom right, that is exactly what I'm talking about, of a group. Even in the mini-map, there's 3 distinct groups, one in the middle, one at the front, one at the back. And of course, thankfully, we're leading the front group, but that means that we also don't have the luxury of a tow or anything like that. We're going to go a bit wide into this really just awkward section of track. It's a lot of fun in time trials, but I found the racing here, it just leads to some really silly moments. I'm going to be showing you guys 3 races today. I don't think anything too bad happens through there in this race. That was not great. We're going to probably get pounced on by our guy in blue here, one Kristen Seba 12. Play this a little bit defensive. I guess we'll see what happens. Anyway, so yeah, that kind of awkward, long, like, triple apex nightmare of doom. There's just not really room for more than one car oftentimes, or 2 cars if they're playing very nicely together. But come on, this is Gran Turismo open lobbies. It's not going to be playing nice. Get into the brakes. I found that as a pretty common weakness of mine for the most part. I would always just... hear a loud crunching sound. Always just braking slightly too early. I would get the car rotated just fine, but it comes back to haunt me. If not in this race, then the next. And this is exactly what I was kind of hoping for, as we don't really have a great SS section of ourselves, but it is good enough to get ourselves a little bit of a gap and break away from the people behind. I could already tell that the people behind me were a bit more consistent, because like I was saying, this was my first, I guess, race of the day. But we were able to let them just fight each other and get in a pretty easy dub. But I mean, even though we won, I still wasn't overly... I mean, I was happy and proud, of course, but I could tell that was not really a crazy high lobby. Next race, we are starting 7th, and this was the same qualifying time. So the same qualifying time that got us on pole, we are now stuck right in the middle of everything. The drivers in this lobby, especially towards the front, were all A-plus drivers. Towards the middle, there were a couple of other B drivers like me, because I'm only a B driver at the moment. I still have not played a ton of PT Sport, or whatever it's called. So this was a bit of a daunting task, but I knew that, like I was saying, I saw a bit more pace that my qualifying time was not overly representative of. And here we go. I think that this is about to be a bit of a bump already, forced wide, almost into the wall. Don't worry, Karma's going to get him back immediately. And it's absolute calamity going through there. Thank goodness that person got ghosted. And somehow we found ourselves in 5th after just an absolutely shocking section of corners there. And yeah, that's probably my least favorite aspect of this track. That so much of the racing just turns into, like, interstate nightmare traffic, which, I mean, makes sense that we're driving on an interstate or something, or an expressway, whatever. But, I mean, just so much of it, especially through that really long, awkward section of track, just turns into such nightmare fuel. Here, I believe that we're going to just brake slightly earlier than everyone else, and this is where I just found myself losing time. Actually, quite the opposite. We shoot ourselves a little bit too deep. We're going to get ran wide? No, we are fine. We get ourselves a good exit. But yeah, that's probably when I do my time trial thing. That is where I'm losing most of my time, and I know that. But thankfully, I already kind of know where I'm losing time, so I can work on it as a result. These S's, I get it all wrong here. So wrong. The pressure of the A+ lobby coming to haunt me. My Evangelion racing car with Minecraft stickers all over it. A perfect machine of racing beauty here that we have for ourselves, or Shockman Esports. And all of a sudden, we are not too far off of a podium here in a much stronger lobby than I ever would have bargained for originally. As we hear more wrecking behind me. The driver behind us must have hissed the barrier a little bit too hard. That is how we more properly do the S's. We have a slight... We're in a little gulf here, where we have a fine enough gap to the person behind us. The person in front of us makes a silly error on somehow the exit. They must have been involved in some kind of crash or something. Of course, but, you know, with someone else. And now we're in the podium spot. I'm like, holy smokes! And before the race, I could tell that the JAR person was one of those A+ rated dudes. And here's where this hairpin is just gonna be, it's just gonna be pain. Get on the brakes, get absolutely dive bombed. The good move, and we just can't really do anything about it. Of course, I could have played that a little bit more defensively, but honestly, I wasn't too worried about it because I didn't want the people in 5th and 6th and all of them to catch back up to us. And you know, 4th and 3rd is infinitely better than what I was really expecting going into this. Now, with that being said, I really did want the podium. So we're going to try and stick with this yet again, another Supra, as they scrape the barrier, going on to the start-finish straight. And yeah, I remember this very clearly. I of course was like, oh man, I don't want 5th to catch up, but I was also like, I don't really care because I really want a podium here. Going on the final lap, we're going to sell the dummy, or at least try to. A couple of looks up on the inside, sending JAR a bit wide into the wall. Job done. We're going to see what happens. I know I'm looking back pretty often on the replay. I was not looking back nearly this much. I had the radar open to go a bit defensive. I just tried to park on the apex, just trying to kill all of his possible momentum. But as a result, we're not going to really get a great exit. And we're about to... This is where it all comes tumbling down for me. I was so sad. I was so focused on JR with the pressure behind. I carry way too much speed. I think I just forgot even to, like, dab the brakes a little bit into the wall. We jump out of the way because I don't want to ruin his race. And there goes our podium. Of course, we just won this race. But a podium in this race, I think, is infinitely more, I guess, prestigious than our win in the lower rated lobby. So yeah, I was happy with that finish, but there was a lot to improve on. Up next, we have another kind of strong lobby, I suppose. A couple of the winners from the last race in this race as well, but it's a much more closer pack as we are up now in 4th rather than starting down in 7th or whatever. I have a good exit. I still hear carnage behind me. These race starts, of course, the race start is always important, but it really just sets precedent, as well as your qualifying time, for what group you're going to be stuck in and what you're actually fighting for. Because there's such little time in this race. It's only 4 laps. It's only daily race B. And I have a look up the inside, not really going to make anything stick. We get a bump from behind. Through goes the Arrow, the IndyCar Supra, bumping us right out of the way. But that's okay. That's okay. Of course, getting bumped wide is never ideal, but we're going to try and just stick in the toe, bump draft a little bit, even though this dude did kind of mess me up. I was really hoping to try and fight for the win in this race, and that is going to be a large damper on that, because the pole position time of this race, I believe I was only a second off of it, and a second, of course, in these lobbies is quite a gulf, but in race trim, I mean, everything is a bit more hectic. Here's a little bit of fun. I look at the inside, but I'm never actually going to go for the move. As a result, our Arrows McLaren goes infinitely too deep. We go a little bit deep, but nowhere near as bad. And boom, we are up into 4th place where we found ourselves in the last race, except this time a lot more honest of a 4th position. Trying to look on the outside, going into the S's. These S's are so, I guess, tricky to get right. And yeah, as a result, the 3rd place driver just having a little bit of an incident, looking a little bit defensive. I could have tried to send him around the outside there, but I thought better of it. Here we go. Down to turn 1. My gosh. Don't have quite enough momentum. We're getting squeezed so tight on the inside. What happens here? Don't actually go for the move. But they're going to kiss the barrier. We're going to go right around the outside. Now going to be the inside. Let's see if we can make it stick. I don't think that we're going to be able to. But such close, good racing. I remember this very clearly with Racer 56. Racer underscore 56. Bit of bumping. But such a good, fun fight with this driver. And still the person in 5th, Brennan77 at this point, is right behind me. Well, I mean, okay, a little bit off. But still definitely within range of trying to get into the toe. So I was really trying to handle whether going for a move on 3rd, trying to defend the podium spot, or sticking behind 3rd, trying to bump draft them, get away from Brennan, and try and catch up to the leaders. Ultimately, I think I had a couple of choices to be a little bit more aggressive, especially a couple of turns ago, and I chose not to because I didn't want to, A, cause a crash, B, lose the place of Brennan, and C, completely lose hope of a possible race win. So we're going to stick in the toe. Brennan did not really get the toe on us, so we're going to get a little bit more of a gap. And we completely miss our braking point, probably as a result of carrying a little bit of extra speed from the toes. I braked a very similar spot, and we get ran a bit wide by Racer 56. And as a result, Brennan is now caught right back to the back of us. Yay. And yes, I remember that. I think that I broke at least a very similar spot. That wouldn't happen normally, but probably the extra speed from the slipstream just threw me off, missed the spot. I'm glad it did not collect Racer underscore 56 in a very unfortunate incident. Everything's okay, thankfully. Not really a great exit there, but better than Brennan. Going on to lap 3. My goodness gracious. Now, luckily for me, that was kind of a common theme. The person in front of me could not get turn 1 down correctly, so I'd always end up getting a run. Now, I was, of course, not planning on going for a move. I still want to catch up to the dudes in front, but if that's just going to be how it is, you're not late enough on the brakes. The space was given, but we were nowhere near confident enough to do so. As Brennan, of course, drops back a little bit, and we are right back up to the rear of the driver in 3rd. And we've also inadvertently kind of caught up to the leaders. They've been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. See, they're forcing each other wide. This race was pretty wide open, even going on to the last lap. Yes, Racer 56. I'm just going to call him 56. 56 brushing the wall again. They're a bit all over the place this race. I know, the sheer pressure of the Minecraft Evangelion car really just breathing down Racer 56's neck. I also put I put a TNT block on the front of it, so if I ever crash into someone, the last thing that they see is a TNT block, because I thought that was pretty fitting. So even though there's a bit of a gap, they missed the apex there. They're looking a little bit loose. Final lap, just only like half a second off my qualifying time, so not too bad. We carry a bit too much speed, but nowhere near as too much speed as Racer 56. We both go into the wall, but their impact was a lot harder on mine. I just kind of followed them into the wall, only catching my mistake there at the end. So the leaders have kind of gone away, but now this is a true fight for 3rd. Getting off the gas, we're going to look at the inside and just completely send it on them. Still not really able to make it stick. The space is still given. And there's a bit of contact, and see, that's just that really awkward bit of track. Goodness gracious, this pure carnage just unleashes. And I know that the person now behind us is racing relatively clean, and I'm doing my best to race clean as well. It's just so difficult to get it completely right. Let's hop on board. Let's see how it looked from their end. Because, of course, from my angle, I felt that I was completely just ran into. But here, it looks like I just completely ran into them, which is not what I was trying to do. Now that, they did slightly pit maneuver me into the Vocaloid Teto rear panel of mine. But, see, because there's only really space for one car going into that spot, so I'm having to set myself up for that, or else it's going to ruin my lap. Ditto with them, so it's just two cars going into a one-car spot. At this point, I was honestly a little bit worried that they were going to completely Gran Turismo ram me. Thankfully, that didn't happen. I was really, really grateful. I was really scared that they were just going to pummel into me, because that's happened a couple of times. Thankfully, it is okay. And as long as I don't mess up this final section, that will be a 3rd place in a very... I mean, look, a relatively high-rated lobby. I was really actually proud of this. And of course, everything's going to be okay. Don't worry. Everything's fine. Spoilers, sorry. I'm spoiling 20 seconds in the future. This race was so much fun. And I'm going to be doing more of it. And I actually lose quite a bit of time, so I have to go defensive here. It is a really, really close finish. But we're still able to pull it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to be working on this track quite a bit more. Of course, for all the monies. My goodness, only separated by a couple of tenths, if that much. Really, really amazing race there from the American Racer 56. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to do some more Gran Turismo stuff. Hope you guys like this. I pretty much just did this all in one take. So, YOLO. And, yeah, okay, thanks for watching. Bye!